Let's talk about family entertainment. You're about to hear the latest trends, expert insights, and behind-the-scenes stories of family fun centers. We'll be talking with arcade vendors, food vendors, attraction vendors, plus sharing life stories of owner-operators and much more. Stay tuned for engaging and informative content that will keep you coming back for more. And now, here's your host, Jeff Pierce of Atomic City Family Fun Center with the FEC World Podcast.
Hello once again, everybody. Welcome back to the FEC World Podcast, where we talk about all things family entertainment. I'm Jeff Pierce, and we want to welcome you once again to the podcast. We're having a great response to all the podcasts we put out, and we got some big news. We're now on Spotify, as well as Facebook and YouTube. You can go to all three of those, the FEC World Podcast with Jeff Pierce. Tune into those. We hit airs 6 a.m. Central Time every Tuesday morning. So we've been doing this for a while. We're now into season 2. So season 1 went very well. And we want to let you know, too, that if you go to Facebook and you like and share and comment and all that good stuff, let us know what you want to hear, what you want to learn about the FEC business. And whether it be from food to card readers to janitorial services, whatever, we want to help you out. So we want to thank you once again for joining today, and we want to get right into the show. I've got a wonderful guest on today and a very, very dear friend of mine and my wife, Charlotte. Brian Duke with Semnox. Brian, how in the world are you, man?
Hey, I am doing great. Happy New Year, and I hope everybody has a phenomenal 2025.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you, too. And I hear that you're kind of relocated a little bit, aren't you? Tell us about real quick about your move you just did. I'm sure you're excited about that and that I guess it's already completed and you're settled in?
Well, not settled in yet. Basically, still trying to figure out with the weather and everything, how to move everything from Colorado to California. Yeah. And so we're having fun with that. But looking forward to the warm weather and stuff. I've sort of reached that age where high altitude and cold temperatures are not quite the best thing for me.
I don't think they've ever been good for me. I'm kind of weak when it comes to cold weather. But anyway, that just goes along with diabetes, I guess, and chocolate cake. So anyway, Brian, how long have you been in the FEC business? Tell us about that.
Oh, gosh. I've been in for, boy, I'm really aging myself now, but I joined with Universal USA back in 1981. Wow. And so I have been now officially 44 years in the industry. And we sold a game called Mr. Do, and I actually got my job because I was playing video games all the time, and I was with a call center that I went down to the pub or the little cafe, and I was playing Ms. Galaga and Ms. Pac-Man, and I was always getting the high scores on it. And I came down one day, and lo and behold, my scores were both beaten, and they gave away a pitcher of beer, so I would give it to all the rest of the teammates. And I came downstairs, and I'm playing the games, and I'm getting the high scores, and I'm winning the beers. And in comes the president and goes, Brian, what are you doing down here instead of upstairs where you're supposed to be? So I figured I wasn't long for that when he said he wanted to see me on Monday. And I answered an ad actually for Universal USA. And I went in there and saw this new game, Mr. Do, which now is only on the classics and stuff like that, like me. But they had a great game, and I loved it. I played it. They said, this is our new game, go over and enjoy it for a little while. 2 hours later, they hired me. I got to levels that they had never gotten to or seen because it was brand new. And it was just such a great game. It was the type of game that you could play, not do all that well, but still enjoy it. And I could play it trying to get that perfect 10 score and do everything just right. And it was just such a phenomenal game. So it's been a lot of fun. I've gone from the selling games and selling other things like that to now selling the debit card systems.
Gotcha. Well, gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what, that's what we kind of want to talk about that today, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Like I said earlier, Brian, we're here to help people that are thinking about getting into the FEC world business, as well as maybe they're already in and they're thinking, hey, I want to do something different with my card reading system. Let's talk about the difference between RFID and card swiping. Can you kind of just throw that out there to us and what people need to know when they first are starting to look at those items and what's best for them, what fits them best?
Certainly. Yeah. And, RFID is something that Semnox actually introduced to the industry back in 2008. They
Okay.
came out, they've never had Megstripe. Now, the difference between Megstripe and RFID is basically swiping versus tapping to play.
Okay.
And there's much better response from guests, from the equipment and everything when you're doing the tap to play. And
Mm-hmm.
the RFID is basically that you're tapping instead of swiping. Swiping has wear and tear on the stripes. Don't let anybody tell you that a card system that is Magstripe is just as good. From a guest experience, it really is not. The whole reason that the credit cards and the hotels and stuff have moved away from swiping to being tap also with RFID is because of the ease of use from a guest experience. And always try to keep that in mind when you're choosing your card system. You want to get the best system so you don't have to change years later or something. If you have Megstripe, now's the time to actually reinvest in your business and upgrade to RFID because everybody's now starting to do it. There are still companies that try to sell the Megstripe because it's less expensive. Cards are the only things that are less expensive. Usually the readers for RFID are less expensive because you don't have MegTech readers inside. Think of it from this point. If I, as a guest, walked into your place, Jeff, and I went over to your game and I swiped my card and it didn't work, I'm going to get frustrated and I'm going to swipe it again and I'm going to swipe it again. And it's still not going to work sometimes because there's a scratch on the stripe or something. You don't know what it is. It could be the MegTech reader that's inside of the reader that isn't reading the magnetic stripe. It could be wiring. It could be a lot of things that could be wrong with the game. But from a
Mm-hmm.
guest standpoint, I'm getting upset that I'm not able to play.
Yeah.
And that's why the tap will work every time because it's a chip inside of the card rather than a MegTech or a Megstripe that is being read by the MegTech reader.
Yeah, and
And
I like to add to that too, as far
sure,
as the problems that it could be. It could also be operator error. We transitioned from the swipe to the RFID, and we love the difference. We had customers coming up saying, "Hey, this isn't working. This isn't working." And I'll go over there and say, "Hey, let me try it for you if you don't mind." And I'll go over there and it works fine. A lot of people, some readers you got to start from the very end and go all the way across. Some people want to just stick it in right in the middle and swap it. And it just don't work that way. So, and it's just an operator error, from the guests, but because they just don't know. I didn't know in the very beginning either, so it was frustrating to me. Not anything against those, but we did transition over to RFID, and we're glad that we did.
yeah,
And actually, folks, Brian was a sales rep with Semnox. We were Semnox now, and uh, they're doing a great job, great customer service, and they're one of those companies out there that can help you out with card reading system and all kinds of different things. And But anyway, we want to thank them for what they've done for Atomic City, and thank you, Brian, for the time you spent with us. I know it took a while to get transitioned over as far as our decision, but you know, in the FEC world business, you don't want to jump quick on decisions because you got a lot of money out there and a lot of big ideas. You want to make sure it works. You just don't want to jump in anything really quick. Ain't that right, Brian?
Exactly. Plus, you know, Magstripe has been very, very good. It started though in the 1990s with it. So the technology changing, that's what operators have to look at, is staying with the newest technology. In your particular situation, you went with a card system before and then realized the problems that can come up with using Magstripe and decided to switch. You did all your homework, which is really what we encourage everybody to do. Check all the systems out and then make the best decision that's for you and your location. That's really what it's all about.
You know, I'm glad you said that because in a lot of these podcasts already, I'm sure our listeners out there have heard it already. What's so good about the FEC world business is that everybody's kind of got each other's back. They're not out to just get a dollar from you. They want what works for you and your facility and your market. So you're going to like that when you're getting into the FEC world. If you haven't witnessed that already, don't worry, you will multiple times. And that's another fun thing about the FEC business. It's just a big old family, and we enjoy it quite a bit.
It really is, and we want to see anybody succeed in this industry, whether they're our customer or somebody else's. Your situation, I did a quote for you years ago, and it took you a while to come back. But because we stayed friends, because we kept on talking, because we didn't close the communication and go, he went with a different company, screw him.
Yeah.
That's not this industry. This industry used to be that way. This industry used to be not helpful because you were a competitor of mine or something. Now it really has become a family, and do ask anybody questions. Everybody is going to be open and honest with you about it, or at least let's put it this way, I will, because our system, while I think it may be the best, may not be the best for a particular person.
Right.
Cost may be a factor and other things like that, to where they need a different solution. But we're going to help them out because we want to see them succeed and come back to us years later even.
Yeah. Well, what's neat about that, Brian, is you know, when we were making the transition, you know, we got quotes from other companies and your competition, but when we made our decision, not that we disliked anyone else whatsoever, it's just, you know, we come down to the decision to move forward with Semnox. But I know that, and I have already, when I run into those reps that we receive quotes from, I don't have to worry about it. Hey, are they going to talk to me? Are they going to be mad at me? You can go up to them. It's like nothing ever happened. You still got that same friendship there and that same connection that, you know, you'll help them out one day if they need it. And you know that they'll continue to help you out in anything you need. So that's what's really, really cool about this business, folks. That's what excites me about it. It's just the camaraderie and the unity that's in the business. It's a lot of fun. And I will be saying that throughout this whole podcast. Every time you watch and listen, you're going to probably hear that. So that's, you know, that's why you need to get in this, man. You know, everybody has each other's back, and really cool.
It really is true.
What
Jeff.
else, Brian? I mean, tell us about Semnox. Say if someone wants to talk to you or anybody else with Semnox, tell us where Semnox is based out of, and maybe the first steps. People are they're thinking, man, I want to open an FEC. I don't know anything about it, but I do know I'm going to need a card reading system. Somebody told me that. What would you recommend them starting out at doing?
Well, to first answer your thing about Semnox, we've been around since 2008. We introduced the RFID to the industry, as I had mentioned before. We're an international global company based out of India, but we have an office and company in the United States in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
That's where we do a lot of our support from, as well as we do have 24/7 from overseas. And we've opened up even service throughout the world. It's not just handled from India, it's also handled from Australia or the UK, where we have offices all around the globe. Um, as far as our products, Semnox has been one of the innovators in the industry for new technology. And when I say one of them, I mean amongst everybody with all types of technologies and such. We've tried to be not a follower of what is already being done by others. We're trying to be the trailblazers and come up with new ideas and such, and new products like the redemption kiosk that we have, which helps people out at the redemption counter.
Mm-hmm.
We have constantly reinvented products that we've come out with to make them better. And that's what I love about it. They don't sit back and just go, oh, what we've developed is good enough to last us for 20 years, like some companies have done.
Right.
We strive to improve. We listen to the operators, and we do everything we can to try to be the best at everything. And that's one of the things that I liked about Semnox when I was looking at the various companies, is the fact that they were able to do so much more than some of the companies, because we're able to do, we've developed everything and in-house, and having everything under one roof, the POS, the online party bookings, the online sales, the card system, managing your entire place, food and beverage. In fact, we're in the process right now of revamping our POS to make it even better than what it currently is. So I like what Semnox does, and I think if you investigate us as well as anybody else, we'll look even better, and you'll like us too.
Yeah, I agree. And it kind of trickles down from what you said too, as far as you listen to the operators. Well, the operators, we listen to our guests, and we always at Atomic City are striving to keep things fresh and new and just a different look, whether it be moving around a couple of arcade games or paint a wall or whatever the case may be. We always want to keep that experience and that moment that everyone will remember. So you don't want to let your, like I said 1,000 times, you don't want to let your facility get stale. Do something to change it up, keep it fresh, and listen to your customers. No, you won't be able to do everything they want you to do because there's a lot of customers out there, but you'll find the consistency and you'll see what works for you. And but again, just be patient with it, think it out, pray about it, and make sure it's the right move for your business. So, Brian, we also have the POS system from Semnox, and it's very user friendly. Our staff jumped on that very quickly and learned how to maneuver a lot better than I have because I don't touch the buttons anymore. But I am checking around, and they're saying it's easy. They learn it. I ask them to do something for me, they can do it right then. So. User friendliness is also important when you make a decision, folks, about a POS system. And Brian, just for a quick moment, let's just say you have a POS at the front counter and you're selling a day pass. Uh, can you just explain the simplicity of maybe selling that? How many steps it is. If it gives you any type of prompts to, can you say, hey, would you like to upsell, or would you like to add a go-kart ride for this, or whatever the case may be? Can that POS system do all of that and more? I know it can do more, but I mean, just kind of show just the basic details of what your POS system can do.
Sure. No, that the thing about our POS that I really like is that it is capable of doing so many things on site that go immediately into the system to where everybody else is able to see what's being done or whatever else. Like if you're booking a party over at one POS, it's instantaneously into the system to where if I'm booking it, you know, at the same time, I don't have a double booking situation. I'm able to see that um, you've already taken that time slot. And so it shows me just the available time slots from there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's, it really cuts down on human errors. Using a card system will make you a lot more money, not just from the shrinkage, which is basically theft, errors, other things like that. We figure there's a minimum increase in revenue that you'll get of 10%. But where it really jumps up is with accepting a credit card. Because if I walk into Jeff's place and all I have is cash on me, you're not going to get very much money, Jeff. Unfortunately, I don't carry a lot of cash, and I don't like using the ATMs at places and such like that because of the charges and all.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a ton of credit cards in my wallet, and I don't even think about putting $50 or $100 onto it. I just want to please my kids. I want to have a good time myself. I want to have food and beverage. A good POS will and a good system will be able to manage everything at your place to where you don't have to have a system for food and beverage, a system for the arcade, a system for online party bookings, because then everything has to be integrated. When it's developed in-house by one company, the integration's already done. And you also know if you have any problems, who to call. You don't have to figure out, is it with this company or this company or this company? Which one do I call to get this problem solved? Because you've got guests standing there in front of you wanting to know why I'm not able to get the money on my card, or I'm not able to do this, or I'm not able to do that. And it puts the employees on the spot if they're not able to operate the system quickly and get things done. So
yeah. That's a very good point too. You put you get the employees put on the spot. They get nervous. In the fun centers, there are a lot of young kids out there. Some of them just their first job, and even some adults, early 20s that maybe just getting out of college and they haven't really dealt with the public. That could be nerve-wracking, be stressful, and then you could lose an employee over that if you don't have some type of easy way to operate, and them knowing easily, excuse me, what to do with that customer. We train ours to say, hey, I see you're upset. Let me get a manager and we'll get this taken care of for you. If they can't fix that right then. So very, very good point. You need to be very convenient with your POS system. It needs to be very convenient to the customer. And like I've always said, convenience sells, folks. So if you can make something as easy as possible, I would do it in a heartbeat. But very, very good point there, Brian. That makes a lot of sense. I'm glad you brought that up. So you mentioned about a kiosk. Let's touch on that for a few minutes, and we'll see where that leads us. And we do have one of your kiosks too, and I tell you what, it's flawless. We really like it. We like the looks of it. Just tell us a little bit about what that kiosk can do for the customer.
Well, the kiosk that you have at your place is what we call the Classic, and the Classic is able to sell or recharge a card. It's able to even do things if you wanted it to be used in this manner. You could do waiver registration on it. You can do other things that can be enabled on it, but the nice thing about the Classic is that we're still upgrading it to where at IAPA we debuted our Classic Pro, which has a bigger screen, more LED lighting. In fact, it won the Brass Ring Award for new product, and we're very proud of that. But whether you have the Classic, which is lower cost, or the Classic Pro, which is more of a attention grabbing type of centerpiece, both of them will function the same way, and you'll be able to have a kiosk in your place that assists the employees that are trying to take care of the long line of guests. That's what the idea of the kiosk is to speed the process up, especially if all I want to do is recharge my card and I want to put a $50 bill into the machine or a $20 bill and have it put onto my card. It's quick and easy, and I don't have to stand in the long line where you're trying to sell a new customer on various products that you want to offer them at Atomic City.
Yeah, and it's a great line buster. You know, you got people that are just coming in, they want to actually talk to somebody. They'll be in the line, but if you're a regular guest and you know how things work at that particular facility, it's a great line buster. Get somebody to say, hey, if you don't want to wait in line, come over here. We got an open kiosk here. We got another one here. We got another one over here. And that really helps because you're speeding up that line and nobody's getting frustrated. And those kids are ready to go play anyway. And then that cuts down on all the crying. I can promise you that. So, Brian, we appreciate you being on today. That's going to wrap it up for us today. And will you come back on and talk to us again sometime?
I would be more than happy to. I really think that FEC World is something that's going to benefit everybody in the industry as well as everybody that's looking to get into the industry. This is a great source of education, and anybody can feel free to call me and ask me questions. Jeff will share a lot of information. I'm happy to share my years of knowledge, even if it's a little antiquated now. But at the same time, I do listen to the people, and I'm happy to share information with anybody and everybody.
I can vouch for that. I promise you. Well, Brian Duke, we appreciate you. Brian Duke with Semnox, folks. We appreciate you watching once again. Remember, go to Spotify, the FEC World Podcast with Jeff Pierce, as well as Facebook and YouTube. Do your likes, shares, follows, subscribes, notifications, all the good things. And be sure to leave us some comments. And until next time, folks, we appreciate you watching and listening, and we will see you again soon.
Thank you for taking the time to enjoy this episode of the FEC World Podcast with Jeff Pierce. We hope you enjoyed today's episode filled with industry secrets and exciting updates. Be sure to subscribe to this show, leave us a review, and let us know what you think. Join us next week for more captivating interviews and essential tips from the FEC world. See you soon on the next FEC World Podcast.